Hello guys, you're welcome back to Kengo's Lab IT Console. In today's video, in the previous video, we took a tour as to the usage of Kali Linux. So in this video, we're going to see some of the things that we can perform with our system. So in this video, we are going to be talking about the user interfaces that is available in the usage of your computer. Now, there are two usages of computer system. So in order to use your computer system, there are two ways in using that computer system. The first method of using your computer system is called the GUI, Graphical User Interface. And the Graphical User Interface is what you're seeing here. Wherever you'll be using your mouse to be clicking, creating folders, deleting folders, and a bunch of stuff, so this will be the one. That is that one. Whenever you're using your mouse to be selecting, to be clicking, to be performing a bunch of stuff on your system, then we said that we are using what? Then we're using a GUI. Another way a user can also interact with the system is the command line interface. And with the command line interface, what we see is that instead of clicking, we rather what? Type. So in Kali, what we use in typing, if we are to be in Windows environments, we know it to be what? Command prompt. But in Kali, we don't call it command prompt, CLI, or the command line user interface. So it's rather represented as what? Terminal. You can see the icon right here. Just like in Windows, it looks just like a command prompt, but it's shown as what? Terminal. So if I want to launch terminal, I have to click on this option, and then terminal will be launched for me. Or I can click on tools, and then for the Kali's logo, and then I can search for the application terminal. I click on it again, and terminal opens. Or I can just click on it once, and then I can see it right here under favorites. I select what? Terminal, and then we're good to go. So I can close them out. So click on this option. Now you see under at first, I had recently used, nothing was showing. But because I've been launching terminal several times, now you can see that it has placed it under recently used. So items that you've been, or some of the tools that you often use from this Kali system will be shown under recently used as we spoke. So we said that you can get it from applications by typing it or selecting this option, or clicking it from the taskbar. You can get it right there. So these are extra things like Notepad. We have Firefox, the browser. Other things also are in here for you. So what we need to do is to click on this icon right here, and we have this one here. So that is it. All right. So that is the terminal. So I can decide to right click to perform the tasks. That is the graphical user interface. Or the user can also prefer to use what? The terminal. But majority of the things you are going to be doing on our system here, you're going to be focusing much on the what? On the terminal or the command prompts. So that's what you are expected to see. Alright. So you're going to see some basic commands or some basic things that we can perform on our system. Alright. So now, if I had wanted to set an IP address on my system with a graphical method, I have to come to my network adapter. If I click on my network adapter, then if I right click on my network adapter, I can go in here, edit connections, and as you see my network adapters in here. If I have a wireless card, or if my system is connected to the wireless card, as you see wireless also shown here. But here I'm seeing only wired, which means that I have an option to connect a network cable to this particular system. If I want to make changes to it, I can come in here, connect, add settings, and come into IP version 4, and then I can go ahead and put in the IP address. So in the M+ class, I believe that most of us knows about IP addresses. So you just have to click on add and provide the IP address you prefer on your system, and then it will be set up for you. Or you can also use the terminal in performing the same thing. Good. So if I had wanted to check my IP address using the terminal, I could have used this command ifconfig, and then it displays the adapter card that I have in here. So you can see this is my network adapter card, and this is my lookback address card, and you can see it's called INET0 or INET6, and it's showing my IP version 6 address because I have not assigned any address to it yet. So if I assign an IP address to this system, then the IP address is going to be shown right here. So I can decide to come in here to do the configuration, or I can assign my IP address right there. So if I had wanted to assign my address at the command line side with a graphical user, I have to right click on this option, come into edit. So I just have to click on my network edit mode. I double click on my Ethernet adapter, or I can just click on settings, come into IP version 4, add and I can provide the address. So if I put in here 10.0.0.1, which is a class A address, the serial mask is 255.0.0.0. But in Linux, we don't call it subnet mask, we call it what? Net mask. But in Windows, it's represented as what? Net mask. So if you see net mask, is similar in Windows as what? Subnet mask. If I have a gateway router IP address, I can put it right here. So that is it. So if you're done, you just click on save, and then the configuration will take you for just like that. So to check your address, come into your terminal and type ifconfig once again, and then you should see the address that you gave to your system. You can see I have assigned this class A address, and the serial mask or the net mask that I gave is also showing right here with the broadcast address. So you can see how I did set it with the graphical. Let's see how to do the same thing with the command line. So I'm going to clear the screen. So in order to clear this whole thing I've typed so that I can get enough room to work with, I just going to type clear in full, as you see, and I press enter, and it's going to get rid of it. Or, so let me type some commands in here, Kofi. So let me just put some commands in here just like that. What you can also do is that you can combine some shortcuts, or you can combine some keys on your keyboard. So just by pressing Ctrl and then L, it's going to clear your screen. So Ctrl plus L also will clear out the screen, or you can type clear in full. Good. Now remember, as you keep on typing commands in here, it keeps records of the commands that you type. So all commands that you have typed, if I use the up arrow key to control, it takes me to the first command, and if I keep pressing the down arrow key, it will take me to what? The last command that I choose. I can also type the command history, and history is going to display all the commands I have typed so far. From first, so the first command we typed was ifconfig. We went ahead to type, so let me clear the screen again. So clear. So history, and you can see, sorry, I didn't spell it for history. And you can see the commands that I've typed so far, all of it are showing on my system right here. So those are the commands that I've executed so far. Good. So let me clear the screen again. Ctrl plus L, or you clear the screen, and that one also should be okay for you. So let me increase the font for a while. So in order to increase your terminal, so you can see that the font, I'm increasing the font, right? So if your text is appearing very smaller, you can increase it. By pressing Ctrl, Shift, and plus on your keyboard, it will increase it. To reduce it, you press Ctrl minus on your keyboard, and it will reduce it. So as you keep on, you press and hold the Control button, and then you keep tapping on minus, and then to reduce it. If you want to increase it, Ctrl, Shift, and then keep pressing on the plus symbol. You don't release your hand from the Control Shift, and then it will increase the text for you. So that is how we do. So we started with ifconfig. We said ifconfig helps us to know the IP address that has been assigned to our system. At the same time, we use it also to assign what? An IP address to our system. But in actual fact, if we type man, man simply means a manual representation of ifconfig, how to use man or ifconfig. So manual, print me a manual as the usage of what? Ifconfig. So if I execute this command, it's going to give me a manual. So let's reduce the text a little bit so that you can see. And it sees that we use ifconfig to configure what? The network interface. So that's what it does. So let me press Q to come out of it. So I can also type ifconfig once again. And then remember, the IP address that we saw, or the adapter's name was what? ETA0. So if you want to assign an IP address to your system with a terminal, you have to remember the adapter's name. So I'm going to clear the screen once again. And now I'm going to provide ifconfig once again, and then bring a space. And my adapter's name is, or it was ETA0. And then the IP address I prefer to give to this system. Let's say I want to give it 190.0.0.20 space, and then I'll type netmask, which is the serial mask. You bring a space, and then you put in your serial mask right here, .0.0. Then you execute this. But remember, as I execute this command, I don't have permission to execute this. So it says operation not permitted, all because I am not running this as administrator. So if you were to be in the Windows world, we know that you always have to run command prompts as administrator. If not, some of the commands we run on our system, if it requires administration privileges, you'll not be able to execute the particular command. So it's always good to run as administrator. But in here, we cannot launch the terminal as administrator right here. But if I still want to run as administrator, I can click on this option and choose root terminal, and then to ask me to provide this password. If I provide this password, it will change the dollar symbol into what? Pound sign or the hash symbol. So let me just put in my password. And after doing that, you can see it changes it into what? This pound sign. So you see that you have logged in as a root or as administrator. And this is the what? The user privilege mode. So I'm going to cancel out this one. So if I want to perform this task, and it means that I have to put sudo right in front. So I have to type sudo. So sudo is a command line, or is just a command that's used to what? Grant people access to what? To run anything at all as an administrator. So any command that we are running, this is this command. But in order to run this as an administrator, you have to just put what? Sudo, and then it'll be good to go. So if I execute this command to ask me for my password, if I'm able to provide the password, then I'll be able to log in. So the password you're asking you for is a password that you provided during the installation of what? Kali. So that's what you provide. So once you do it that way and it's right and your password is in good shape, you have to change into what? To allow you to execute the command. So if I type ifconfig once again now and check my address, you realize that this time around the address should change to the new address that I choose. And you can see because I added sudo and I have the permission to execute this, and the serial marks to defect. So you can see how perfectly it's really working. So I'm going to clear the screen once again. So at the moment, as a recap, if you use ifconfig and we say that ifconfig is used to assign an IP address to our system, at the same time it helps us to know the IP address or the network configuration that has been given to our system. We spoke about man, and we said that man is just a manual representation of any command at all you have heard about. So if you want to know the manual representation of ifconfig, you can just run it here. If you want to know the manual representation of any command at all that you want to know about, you just have to just put it there and then you'll be good to go. So if I put ETA0 and I execute this one, it says no manual entry for ETA0 because this ETA0, there's no manual that can be printed for it. So any command at all we are going to execute on this terminal, you can check it right there. So I'm going to clear the screen once again and then I'm going to go. Now if I type time, it gives me real time. So you can see it tells me real time, but that's not what I really want to perform. I need to know today's date and time. So let me clear the screen again. So in order to check or get it today's date and time, all that I have to do is to type date. So if I execute date, then it tells me today's date and with the time also. So you can see that one is right there. So date, I can print a manual representation for date and it's going to tell me the work of the day. It says it prints or sets date. So if you want to set date or if you want to print date, you can use date to do the same thing. So manual just gives us what? A manual representation. At the same time, I can also perform the same command with the dash help. This also is going to give me a usage or how to use what data as well. So if I execute this, double dash and help. So you can see if I perform that, I'll be able to get extra functions about how to use it as well. So we type date and then whatever you need to do. So if you scroll down, it tells you more details. So let me reduce the font a little bit. So let's run it once again. So if I scroll to the very top, you can see the usage. So if you type date and then you bring a space and then you provide any one of these like small letter A, modulo sign plus small letter A, what happens? So it tells you all that. So you can decide to use the manual or you can use the help. Good. So let's clear the screen once again. All right. So if I type history, you'll be able to track all the commands I've used so far. So we spoke about ifconfig. We said that helps us check our IP address as well as assign an IP address. Man is used to get a representation of anything at all. Meaning, if I want to get a representation of the usage of ifconfig, I can put it there. I can also use the help command, the dash help, and then provide the command that dash help, and I'll be able to perform any task at all I really want to perform. So that is how we go about that. We saw clear that it clears the time, it clears the content you have in here. You can press Ctrl plus L and it's going to clear the screen as well. If you type date, it tells you today's date and then the current date and time also will be displayed for you. So basically these are some of the basic commands that we've seen so far. So let me clear the screen. The next set of commands we would like to talk about is ls. So we use ls to list the content. So before I use ls, let's use another command called pwd before we come to ls. Now if I want to know currently where I am working with or the current location that I'm working at, I have to type PWD, which stands for present working directory. So if I execute this command, it displays what? My present working directory. And now my present working directory is what? Home / what? Kali. That's currently where I'm located. So Kali is my present what? Location. And you can see home and then the rest. So that is what you're using it for. So this path that I'm located, so let me minimize my terminal a little bit. And then I'm going to open the graphical option, the home, and you can see it right here. Now if I'm in terminal, I don't call this content you see here folder, so I'm going to call them as what? As a directory. So on terminal it's called directory. In Windows 2, on Windows command prompt is called directory. But if you are dealing with the clicking aspect or the graphical user interface, you're going to represent it as well as the what? Directory, and in Windows is represented as what? Folders. So if I list the content, you can see that I am in my directory. It's the same content that we see here, desktop, downloads, that's the fact, if you're using a graphical. So that's the location. So if I click in here, you can see that's my home directory. So my home directory is called what? Kali. And you can see if I click on my logo, it tells me that the user account that I've logged in with. So that's my user directory. You can see I am located on my what? On my desktop. So if I type ls is going to list the content of my what? Working directory, wherever I'm located, which is Kali. So it's going to list the content of what? So the last option you see here is Kali, and that's where I am. And that's why I display this option as Kali, and you can see here as well as Kali. So for a reason, if I had wanted to change my directory from one location, so now I'm currently located in Kali, and these are the items found in Kali. So if I want to change to any of the items found in Kali, then I have to issue the command cd. So if I type cd, I can type cd and I type the path I want to change to. So I want to change into desktop. So I just type desktop. So if I start typing DES and I hit on tab key to populate and then finish it for me, it's called tab complete. You click on your tab key on your keyboard to populate it. And I press enter. And this time around, it logs me straight into what? My desktop. You can see I have logged in into desktop, and you can see currently I'm located on a desktop. So if I type PWD now, I should be in a desktop. So that is the path that I have located. So we use PWD to check your location, your present working directory, where you're currently working at, and then we use ls to list the content of where you are. And you can see if I double click, if it is to be the graphical, it's just like me double clicking on this. So you can see now it is in home. If I double click on desktop and I click back once in here, you can see it's the same as what I have in here. So if I type PWD once again, you can see /home/Kali/ what? Desktop. And that's exactly you see here. And then I listed it and there was no content. So you can see right there. So let me clear the screen. So we need to create some folder in here. If you were to be in a normal Windows phone, you could have used the command, you could have just right click and then select what? Create folder, and give the name of the folder called maybe King. Execute this and the folder will be created. That's the graphical. What if you want to do that with your command line? So we are going to use command line as well. So in order to create a folder on the same directory, the one that I'm going to do is that I'm going to type the command mkdir. So mkdir is used to what? Create a folder on your current location. So I'm located on desktop. So if I wanted to create a folder, I just type mkdir, bring a space in the name of the folder I want to create. So I want to call this folder Mike. Now if I execute this option, Mike will be created. You can see Mike appears on my desktop as well, and it's also appearing on the side. So you can see Mike also created in here. Good. If I want to create more than one, so if you were to be in a graphical mode, you only have an option to be creating folders one at a time. You cannot create multiple folders at a go. That one is never possible. So you have to do it one after the other before it will appear. But in terminal or in command prompt, you can create multiple folders at a time. All you need to do is to type mkdir, bring a space and the name of the folder you want to create. So I can call the folder Mic 1, Mic 2, Mic 3, and then Mic 4. And then if I execute now, all these folders will be created instantly, and you can see they are created instantly. So as I've been able to create a folder, I can also delete a folder. So in graphical way, select the folder you want to delete, right click on the folder, and then you're going to move to trash, and it will go straight into the recycle bin. So you can see it's gone. So I've deleted some of the content and it's gone to the recycle bin. I can bring it back by opening my recycle bin, select it, right click on it, and then I can restore it back, and then it comes back. So it's no more in the recycle bin or in the trash. So I want to do the same thing by removing my directory. So if I'm here, this is not a folder, but it's called a directory. But if I'm in the graphical world, it's represented as what? A folder. So let's remove the folders we created right here. To remove the folder, just change the MK to RM. So we type RMDRL and it's going to remove the directory. So if I want to remove all of it at a time at a go, just execute the command and you can see they vanish. So now if I list the content again, you realize that they are no more having mic anymore. I could have also created it once again, list the content and you can see they are back. If I want to remove only one, I can just clear everything and then remove only mic one. If I list the content, so it says something, it says cannot create a directory because it already exists. So you can see I already have mic 1, so it will give me an error. So let me create it mic 20. I'll execute and you can see that if I list the content, mic 20 is shown right there, and that is my what? Mic 20. If I want to delete anything at all, come back, that is RMDR to delete what? Bulk. So RMDR, this command deletes what? Multiple folders or directories on the go. So that is it. If I want to delete the remaining ones, select whatever I want to delete. RMDRL, I'll delete GGG, I'll delete GGGGG, and then I'll delete King. That's what I want to delete. So I'm going to go to execute this and you can see it's gone and it's left with mic and mic 20. So that is how to use this particular command as well. Now type your history command and check the commands you've typed so far. So we've used RMDRL to remove a directory or a folder. We've also used MKDR to create a folder. So we create a folder and we've deleted a folder. We use ls to list the content. So let me reduce the font once again. Let me run the command once again. We use ls, we use pwd to check. Ls lists the content of where you are located. We use pwd to check your location, which path are you working at. And then we use mkdir to create a folder. Then we use rmdir to remove a folder as well. So let me clear the screen once again. Either you type cl clear in full or you press Ctrl+L, and this also closes it for you. So now let's list the content once again, and you can see that I have mic and I have what? Mic 20. Now let's put it that I want to go back to where I came from. See, at first when I typed pwd, it was at home and Kali, and now I've moved into desktop. What if I want to go back to my Kali? To do that, you issue the command cd. So just like in here, you have to come back here and click on this option and it takes you backwards to your desktop, and you can see I'm in desktop Kali, my home directory now. To do the same thing here, you just type cd, but this time around you bring a space after cd. Remember, cd changes the directory from one directory into another directory. So I want to change it back into desktop or back into my my home directory. So I'll type cd, bring a space and hit on double dot, and then execute this command. They take me backwards one at a time. So if I type pwd now, you realize that now I am back, and if I list the content, it gives me the content you see right in here. So that is what we do. So if I want to change into any path at all, I'll type cd space and then a path. Let's say this time around I want to log in into pictures, or PIC, and then I'll log into pictures, execute this command, and then I'm in pictures. If I list the content, you can see there's nothing in pictures. So I can change my directory and I bring a space with a slash. If I perform this option, that means that I want to go straight into my root, and it will take me straight into my root. So if I execute this time around, you realize that it takes me into my file system. So that's the file system. So if I double click on this file system, you can see that it looks just like that. So that's the file system, like your drive C. So that's the entire drive C you see in here. And you can see that the other locations I can change into. So let me maximize this. So just as you've seen here, it's just like clicking on the file system and I'm here. So if I click in here, this is where I am. That's the root. So if I type pwd, that's my root, and then that's my root. Yeah. So now I have an option to change to whatever I want to. Remember, we saw /home, so this is the home directory. So home is found under the root. That's a slash. So if I double click, then you see /home, and you just type cd / bring a space /home. Then I'm in home. Now, if I want to double click again, I can just press execute enter, and it takes me to home by typing ls, and I'll see Kali. So if I go to my file system, and then I'll go to home. So where's home? If I come in here, you can see I'm in home now, and you can see I have Kali. So if I type ls, Kali also shows here. If you want to double click on Kali, just double click with the graphical and then you type cd Kali and then you change into Kali. Type ls and then you'll be able to list the ls and then you'll be able to see some of these commands. So you can see some of the things that you can do right here. Now what if I want to create a file? So we have seen how to create directories. What if we want to create a file as well? So we check where we are first. We are at home, so I'm going to type ls and you can see where I am. I want to change into music and create a file under music. So ls and then clear the screen. So now I'm right under music, you can see right here, which is equivalent to double click on music and then it should be in music as well. So we are going to create a file in here. To create a file, we type touch. So we use the command touch in creating a file. So we type touch and the name of the file. So I want to call the file file1, just like you're creating a notepad or a note test file. Execute this command and you see that file1 has been created, just like a test file, so that I can edit in some tests. After I'm done, I can close the test and then save the content. Now, if I type ls, you can see that I have my file. But you realize that there are some items in it. If I double click, I am able to view these items. But on terminal, we can't double click. In order to double click, you have to type the command cat. So cat is used to list the content of a file. So if I type cat and I issue the name of my file and I press enter, it will display the result, just like you double clicking to display the same result. So that is a work also of cat. So cat helps us to be able to view the content of a file. In order to remove a file, we don't use rmdir to remove the file, but we use rm to remove a file. So if I try to remove the file, just type rm and then the file name, which is file1, and try to execute, and it's gone. So if I type ls now, you can see that there's no more, and then here too is gone. So we use rmdir to remove a directory or a folder, and then we use rm to remove a file. So if you want to remove a specific file, we use rm to do or to perform that particular task. So let me clear the screen once again, and then you can see. So we have covered a whole bunch of commands in here. So the last command I would like us to talk about is the cp command. So let's clear the screen again. So we're going to use cp. So what cp does is that it helps us copy a particular item or copy a particular directory or file from one location to a different location. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to type ls, and then you can see that there's nothing here. So let's create a folder, mkdir, and I'll call the folder mic. Execute this, type ls, and you can see there's mic. So what I want to do is that I want to create another folder called mkdir coffee, and this is what I want to do. I want to copy. So if I type ls, I'll see coffee and mic. I want to copy. Let's create one more file, touch mic or mi, and then if I type ls, you can see files are represented in white, and then directories or folders are represented in this blue color you see right here. So I want to copy this file into any of the folders or directories you see. To do so, all you need to do is just right click on the file or folder you want to copy, and then right click on where you want to paste it, and then you just paste, and then you check in there and it should be there, just like that. But what we want to do is to copy this file into Kofi and see if that one too works. So on the terminal, you clear your screen first, type ls to see your content. So now I want to copy my to Kofi. So all I have to do is to type cp. Cp stands for copy. Then bring a space and then the name of the file or the directory you want to copy, mi. What do you want to copy it to? I want to copy it into Kofi, so I'll type Kofi. If I press enter, it has been copied straight into Kofi. So if I type ls now, you can see that I'm currently going to change into Kofi first, and then type ls, and you can see that mi is in Kofi. So now if I type ls, I can see straight away that I'm in it directly. So that is how to use some of these basic commands to perform some options in here. So as we move along, we are going to be using a whole bunch of commands as we move along. So let me clear the screen and type history for the first time, for the last time, and then we observe what we have done so far. So now we have typed 90 commands so far. So you can see these are all the commands you have typed. So as a recap, let me clear the screen. We saw how to use ifconfig. We saw how to use man. we saw how to use ls, we saw how to use cat, we saw how to use mkdir, we also saw how to use rmdir, we also saw how to use touch command, we also saw how to use the rm command, we saw how to use the date, and then also we also saw how to use cp, we saw how to use cd, we saw how to use cd with a dot, we saw how to use cd space slash, we also saw how to use pwd, and then also we saw the ls also. So I think ls we use it also. So these are the basic commands that you can perform on your Kali.